So the last part of this assignment is to create some sort of sense of value to any of these flat spaces. So you'd be taking basically these colors and you'd be adding tints and shades, lights and darks. You can even try little variations of color. So instead of putting the color, let's just grab one real quick. Instead of taking like some darker purple and putting it right directly on this layer here. So if you feel like you need to change it in some way, you wouldn't be able to erase it because it is on that particular layer, so you'd be erasing the whole thing. So what I suggest to do when you're on this step is to add a new layer, put it on top of where you want to do it, and add the color there. Because then, I'm going to make this brush a little bit bigger so you can see it. So if you end up like putting some stuff on here, let's see, oh, I'm on the eraser tool, sorry about that. So if I go ahead and I start adding some color here, and I'm not really liking what's happening, I can certainly go ahead and erase it because it's on a separate layer. So, when you're exploring some colors, you probably want to modify the brush. So I'm going to come over here. So the brush here, I'm going to lower the spacing like I did before. And then there's also some fuzzier brushes that you could access. I'm going to bring the hardness down, I'll bring the size up, spacing's down. And you can just play around with some of these different effects. You can also come up on top here. Opacity, if I lower the opacity down, it's going to make it watery looking. So here, I'll just draw right here just to show you. Let me make this go away. Oh, I'm on the eraser again. Okay. So if I go ahead and establish a brush, I bring the hardness all the way down, lower the spacing, and now I'm going to take the opacity and lower it down. So you can see it's kind of see-through, whereas if I increase the opacity, it would make it solid. So that's one way that you could make these modifications, is just playing around with these, maybe trying lowering the opacity a little bit, and create little highlights. Now if you put color on top of it, you can see it's making it a little bit darker. You can also, speaking of eraser, I'm always stuck on there, so I'm going to go with some shading over here. If I want to erase it, I can have the eraser have the same sort of thing where it's going to erase it with a fuzzy edge and lowering the opacity. So it makes these edges kind of soft. So you can see that as I'm working with this, and you can make the brush bigger and smaller, you could create these shadows over here. If you want to put streaks in the hair, even different colors, you can try that out. Okay, so I'm going to make this invisible just so you can see what I was making here. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can take a tool called the smudge tool. It's right underneath the gradient and paint bucket. It's right here. Again, you can change the size and the strength. I'm just going to leave it at 50. And what you can do is you can push this along here. So if I bring this back here, you can see that those smudges will create some texture. I'm just going to go with the eraser and I'm going to remove some of it. So you can combine a combination of those things. So when you're dealing with the face, you probably want to do some highlights and shadows. You'd have some shadows around the face. My neck would be shadowed. My highlights would exist on the nose, maybe on the top of the eyelid and on the forehead. So I'm just going to go ahead and play around and show you kind of what I'm talking about. Again, make a different layer. I'm going to make a whole new layer, so if I screw up on this, I can certainly erase it without it affecting anything. something else. So the brush, I'm going to go with a little bit of a harder brush. Spacing I'm going to keep like that. And the size of the brush, that's probably good. And I'll keep the opacity low like that. So as I apply these shadows, I can go more and more on that. Now that's going to be really, really severe, so I'm just going to undo. And I do want to go with a smaller brush than that. So I'm going to go around the head here, maybe even under the nose. And if I go off the page like this, I can erase them later. Around your eye, it's going to be a little shaded. The side of the head here. And as far as the highlights go, it'll be the same thing. I think I have to increase the opacity and make it show up a little bit more. There we go. And the highlights will be by the cheeks. And I think I'm going to replace that with more of a highlight there. So you can kind of start to see where you're kind of adding some value to it. All right. So again, it's on a separate layer, so if I want to remove some of that, if I want to erase it, I'm only going to remove it from, I'm going to only remove it from the areas that I really want. I just went with a hard brush there, or a hard eraser, so I erase it. So, you know, experiment with different effects. Also, you can do something in the background as well, in your background things. And I think in my demonstration, I think I literally just took the smudge tool, and if you wanted to try this out, I would probably make a copy of the layer. So I just made a copy, Command J. And if you just wanted to kind of like play around with effects like this, you wanted to smudge it, create some things like that, you certainly can. You can go with the brush, you can brush effects on here in the background, and you can just kind of play around. If you wanted to go with little dots and stuff, you can do whips, you can do that as well. So I guess what I'm saying is in the background, you can really, really just have some fun and play around with some stuff. And in the face, you probably don't want to get too crazy, but that's not to say if you wanted to put some streaks of color in some areas where it would be not really belonging, you certainly can do that. All right? So again, opacity makes it lighter and darker, so I'm just using the eraser right now, and I'm like just lifting some of it off. Check out the brushes over here, the size and the hardness, even the roundness. And you can play around with these scatter color dynamics and, you know, try things out. This is not going to be a one and done project. I want you to experiment with some brushes and effects and such. All right. And also different layers are helpful as well. All right. And later on you can combine these layers. If you want to join up layers, if you're sure that you want to keep this and you want to join it up with your color, you can certainly do that. Hold down the command button and you can select multiple layers, right click, merge layers. So now, oops, I think I did the wrong one. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's this one with this one. Okay. Right click, merge layers. So now they are on one layer. Let's see. I would not be able to erase them. They are all the shadows and highlights are stuck on there. All right. Have some fun, kids.